Let's get on to the Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz here with AEW and NXT here. We'll start with AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite first here. It took place taped from the Nightmare Factory in Norcross, Georgia. Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho were on the call. The show opened with Cody in the control room talking about all the wrestlers who have matches tonight and then questioning his place among them. He said that critics of AEW will continue to move the goalposts, but he's not worried about that. Opening contest had Darby Allin taking on Sammy Guevara here in the TNT Championship Tournament. Very good match here from these guys. I thought these guys told a great story. A lot of back and forth. Ultimately, in the end, the right guy won here. Darby Allin advanced to the semifinals here of the TNT Tournament. He pinned Guevara after the Last Supper. So good-looking match here from both of these guys. Darby Allin, the right guy here, getting the win. Matt Hardy cut a promo on Chris Jericho from his compound in North Carolina. He started the promo in his broken persona, but then eventually he reverted back to his regular Matt Hardy self and cut a more normal promo as well. So Matt Hardy getting himself set for a date with Chris Jericho at some point. Kenny Omega was in action. Next, he took on Alan Angels here. It was an okay match. Omega ultimately won by hitting a second V-trigger for the win here, so Omega looks strong here. Then we got a video package on Scorpio Sky talking about his history and how close he came to leaving wrestling after a back injury and problems finding opponents before he joined SCU. So I thought this was okay. Then we had Cody listening to Dustin Rhodes' voicemail about how he will retire if he doesn't beat Kip Sabian, which is in the main event of the show. We'll talk about it when we get there. Orange Cassidy was in singles competition here. He took on Jimmy Havoc here. So, you know, Orange Cassidy is one of these very polarizing figures. A lot of people like him. A lot of people say he's one of the laziest wrestlers in all of professional wrestling. He's a very polarizing guy, to say the least. Penelope Ford attempts to interfere during the match, but Chuck Taylor tried to pull her off the apron. She went down into a split instead, and then Kip Sabian jumped on Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta in the chaos. Orange Cassidy managed to pin Jimmy Havoc, so Orange Cassidy gets a big win here over Jimmy Havoc. Havoc and then Kip Sabian attacked Orange Cassidy after the match, but then the Best Friends came in to make the save here, and they stood tall at the end. So Orange Cassidy gets a nice win here. And what was edited in, MJF appeared in front of his house. He went on to say he would explain why he hasn't been wrestling on AEW Dynamite. He acted like he was going to cry, really trying to sell it. I mean, you knew where this was going. It was all a swerve, and then he announced he had suffered a bad hangnail. Yeah, that was everyone rolling their eyes. The camera then backed up to reveal his arm in a sling with a Burberry bandage around his little finger. So apparently this is career-threatening stuff with this bad hangnail. They really wanted a bad hangnail. I mean, it was basic. I mean, it works for him because he can put it over, but I thought they were going to come up with something a little bit better than that. We had Warlord. Of course, this is MJF's muscle. He took on Lee Johnson here. Not much to the match here. Warlord won in pretty quick fashion after the airplane spin, so he gets a win here. And then we got a vignette here. We see an ex-football player was seen applying online to be in the Dark Order, and then the video cut to his interview with Brody Lee. Brody Lee gave him a mask and welcomed him to the Dark Order. It turns out that the individual is Preston Vance. He's also known as Cody Vance in the indie circuit. He has wrestled in AEW Dark and losing efforts already. So Preston Vance is the guy's name. He is going to be the new member of the Dark Order. So we know who that is now, at least. Speaking of the Dark Order, Brody Lee, the leader of the Dark Order, he was in action here. He took on Justin Law here. Not much to the match here. Pretty dominating stuff here. Brody Lee won in quick fashion. He won after hitting the big lariat clothesline for the win. After the match, he got in Marco Stunt's face. Marco Stunt wanted nothing to do with him, so nothing happened after that. In a backstage interview, the Best Friends challenged Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc to a tag team match, so we know that's going to be coming up. We got a new edition of the Bubbly Bunch here. Sammy Guevara was feeling down about the Inner Circle's recent losses, more so his own, but the rest of the group encouraged him to be positive. Jericho suggested they dance to cheer up, and then Santana suggested the Flim Flam. No, not the character from Scooby-Doo in the 80s, but it's a Flim Flam dance. Jericho said whoever did the best job would get a bottle of hand sanitizer. Ooh, that's a shoot right there as a prize, because we know that's like liquid gold nowadays. So then they all danced. Jericho was mad that Sammy Guevara won the contest and then called him a show-off and threw the hand sanitizer at the screen of his phone. So nobody got the hand sanitizer. We had a Dustin Rhodes and Kip Sabian. They had a video package about their match in the TNT Championship. That's coming up next. So we get to that main event here. Dustin Rhodes taking on Kip Sabian here. The match, I mean, again, the hook was if Dustin lost, he would retire. They pretty much gave it away with that. You knew Dustin Rhodes wasn't losing. He does not lose here. He saves his career. He beats Kip Sabian. He pinned him after hitting the Code Red, which is basically the Canadian Destroyer here. And then afterwards, Kip Sabian was distracted by Penelope Ford's fight with Brandy Rhodes. That's what ultimately led to Dustin Rhodes winning. Of course, Brandy was out in Dustin's corner, so he staves off retirement for another week. So I assume the retirement stuff's not going to happen next week because he's going to be taking on Lance Archer, and Darby Allin's going to be taking on Cody in the semifinals. So I expect Cody's going to win, and I expect Lance Archer is going to win, and we're going to ultimately get to the match that we thought we were going to get to. So that's what we had. That is AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. It took place from the Nightmare Factory in Norcross, Georgia. Let's get on to WWE. Of course, it took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. This was a live episode. Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton were on the call. It started off by addressing the quote, incident that was talked about on NXT's Twitter account earlier in the day, in which Finn Balor's belongings were taken apart and gone through in the locker room. I guess they were indicating that maybe something was badly done to him. I guess that's how they were trying to play this off. So then we get the Velveteen Dream, who cut a promo on Balor, who was supposed to be facing him in the main event here. Of course, Finn Balor was nowhere to be found. Adam Cole came in and then accused Velveteen Dream of trying to sneak his way into a title shot. And then Adam Cole says he'll never get one. Then we had the rest of the Undisputed Era attack Velveteen Dream from behind. Keith Lee eventually did run in to make the save, and then we had a big brawl here. The babyfaces stood tall in the ring while the Undisputed Era were backing off. So we'll see where that leads to later on in the show. Opening contest for the night here, we had tag team competition. We have Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai taking on Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox. This is a follow-up to what happened last week when Raquel Gonzalez was defeated in the contest by Tegan Nox because of some interference from both Shotzi Blackheart and Dakota Kai. So a tag team competition here. It's actually a pretty good match. Good work here from all the people involved. Ultimately, the heels do win in the end. Raquel Gonzalez wins for her team after she pinned Shotzi Blackheart after hitting her one-arm powerbomb on her for the win. So the heels get one here and gets some sort of payback, so 50-50 booking if you want to say that. It was revealed then that the main event now is going to be a tag team match. It's going to be Keith Lee and Velveteen Dream taking on Adam Cole and Roderick Strong in tag team competition. So they do the bait and switch here, which was supposed to be Finn Balor and Velveteen Dream. Finn Balor, I guess, was just not there. He was not at Full Sail, so they did the old bait and switch here. Wasn't a big fan of that, but we'll see where this tag team match goes then. A video package aired next about Drake Maverick in the Cruiserweight tournament played as well. It started off with Drake Maverick's Twitter video, or video that he posted on Twitter on social media in response to being laid off. I don't know. I hope they're not playing this up as some sort of a storyline angle. He says that these matches in this Cruiserweight tournament is going to be his final matches. I hope that they're not doing a deal where they're just doing that just to pull a swerve and then he really isn't firing. He's just going to be staying around. This is just being done for sympathy. I hope they're not doing that and they're not going that strong with it. Drake Maverick, I mean, he's well liked by a lot of the people here. A lot of people are pushing for him to stay, so we'll see where it goes. So, that leads us into that interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament match. We had Drake Maverick taking on Jake Atlas here. Both these guys brought their work boots on here. This was a great match. I thought Drake Maverick, this is the best I've seen him look in a long time. I thought he brought his A game out here, looked pretty good. Gave Jake Atlas all he could handle. But ultimately, Jake Atlas won in the end after hitting the cartwheel DDT. Also known on the indies as the LGB DDT. Great looking move there. It's a little bit not reckless, a little bit dangerous, but he hit it though and got the win. They were interviewing Atlas afterwards, hyping up this Cruiserweight tournament. He wanted to talk to Maverick, who walked behind him, but Maverick just kept going. So Maverick, I guess, just a little distraught that he lost here. So we had another interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament match next. We had Tony Nese taking on Kushida here. Pretty good stuff here from these guys. I thought they told a pretty good story for the time they were given here. Ultimately, after some back and forth here for a while from these guys, Kushida wound up winning in the end. He submitted Tony Nese to the hoverboard locks, so Kushida gets a win here and improves his mark in the Cruiserweight tournament, which is more or less... This is more or less kind of what they do in New Japan Pro Wrestling with the Climax tournament that they do there. That's more or less what they're doing with this. We had a backstage interview with Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. Of course, Timothy Thatcher is the interim tag team champion with Matt Riddle because Pete Dunne is not able to compete because of what's going on right now. And they were just talking up their new partnership, and Matt Riddle, of course, talking about Timothy Thatcher's blue eyes when in fact he has brown eyes. So Matt Riddle, I guess, was very high on himself, if you get my drift. So there we had that. Great promo here next. We had Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. They both cut, I thought, outstanding promos from their dining room table in their home, talking about how they've been underappreciated in NXT. This was outstanding. You have to go back and watch this. Just some very good stuff here from these guys. I'm very interested to see, of course, they are husband and wife. I'm interested to see what they do with them going forward. I like this new heel look here from both of them. Not a big fan of Candice LeRae's hair coloring and all that, but I thought her promo was outstanding here. We had a video package that hyped up Io Shirai challenging Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's Championship. That happened next. So that was what we had there. And then we saw Drake Maverick interviewed backstage on the stairs, talking about his tournament loss there, how he was upset. Of course, he supposedly only has 2 more matches to go, so we had that. So women's action was up next here. We had Mia Yim taking on Jessie Kama here. Mia Yim winds up winning here in pretty short order here. She gets the win on her. After the match, Charlotte Flair entered and asked Mia Yim if she accepted her offer of a title match. Mia Yim, of course, put Charlotte over, saying that she would be honored. Charlotte then thanked Mia Yim for helping her make her a star by facing her in her first NXT match since her return, and that she would help make Mia Yim a star. So basically, the gist of this was that Charlotte Flair called Mia Yim a quote, good hand as part of the promo, which was a Charlotte Flair thing for her to say, and I believe was a 100% shoot as well. So, believe me, Charlotte Flair, she does not want to be in NXT taking on these competitors. To her, I think it's a downgrade for her. That's just my thought on that. So, I think calling Mia Yim a good hand was kind of a backhanded remark, kind of a shoot, and I think it was a shoot, as a matter of fact. We had another interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament match that took next. We had Alejandro Del Fantasma taking on Gentleman Jack Gallagher here. Very good match here. Fantasma wound up beating Jack Gallagher, so he improves his mark. So, good match. So, it was promoted for next week's program. We had Mia Yim taking on Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's title. And we have Keith Lee taking on Damian Priest for the NXT North American title. So, those are coming up. And then, as we had Phantasmo being interviewed or talking outside, we see the masked men who come up in this SUV, this kind of cheapened version of the Dark Order, who've been taking other people in the parking lot. They tried to go after him, but he was able to fight them off, and they drove off. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes from there. So we get that tag team match that's coming up here. We had Keith Lee and Velveteen Dream taking on Adam Cole, Bebe, and Roderick Strong here. As the match begins, Damian Priest comes out to attack Keith Lee. He goes after him to the throat. He is pulled out of the match and taken to the back, never to be seen again. So it turns into a handicap match with Velveteen Dream taking on the Undisputed Era. The Undisputed Era work over Velveteen Dream for a while. Dexter Lumis just kind of shows up out of nowhere. He appears on the apron during the match and just got involved in the match. The referee allowed it, and I guess it was okay. Referee said he had to grab the tag ropes. They just went on to it. Velveteen Dream eventually tagged Lumis in. He he just went to work here. He went after the Undisputed Era, so I don't know if this was supposed to be a face turn or what this was. But the match ended after Velveteen Dream won. He won for his team after he pinned Adam Cole with the Purple Rainmaker for the win. So Velveteen Dream actually pinned the NXT champion here. So that's kind of a big deal in its own right. So that's it. So I don't know what to make of Dexter Lumis here being in the main event. That was kind of out of nowhere. So that was WWE NXT that took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. Let's talk about the ratings they're in for this week. NXT's 2-week winning streak came to an end here. AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite won the total viewership battle for this week. AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite did 731,000 viewers. That was up 7% from the previous week. And NXT did 665,000 viewers, which was down 3.9% from last week. So Dynamite beat NXT by 10%, according to Showbuzz Daily. AEW ranked 24th in the Cable 150 in viewership, while NXT did rank 50th. Or, excuse me, AEW ranked 24th in the demo, and NXT ranked 50th. AEW ranked 68th in viewership, and NXT was 70th. Last week's Dynamite episode did 683,000 viewers, while NXT did 692,000 viewers. Dynamite drew its lowest viewership of 2020 on last week's program and the lowest non-holiday AEW viewership in history, tied with the December 18th episode. AEW did a 0.25 rating in the 1849 demo that is unchanged from last week, while NXT did a 0.18 that is up 6% from the previous week. Last week NXT did a 0.17, AEW did a 0.25. AEW's 0.25 rating is tied with last week's episode, December 18th episode, and April 1st episodes for the lowest ever. AEW won all the demos except 50 plus, in which NXT won 0.34 to 0.30, and females 12 to 34 actually tied at 0.11 for each. Other than that, AEW won all the demos. The Challenge on MTV topped the night in the demo with a 0.58 rating, but just 1.017 million viewers. Special Report on Fox News Channel topped the night in viewership with 4.915 million viewers, and that also ranked third in the Cable 150 with a 0.55 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. So with AEW winning in the total viewership this week, they have now 23 wins, while NXT has 5 wins, and we have the 1 tie. My pick of the week this week is NXT again. I thought NXT was just a better show overall. Again, I mean, I liked what they did. Now, I was not a big fan of the main event here. I didn't like the bait and switch. I thought AEW's main event with, Kip Sabian and Dustin Rhodes, I mean, I didn't think that was that strong of a main event either. I mean, I knew what they were trying to go for. I didn't think it was all that strong, no. But I thought NXT was just better here. Not a whole lot wrong with AEW, but just kind of, I thought it was not as strong. I thought it was a little flat, but it wasn't terrible by any stretch. So, NXT is my pick of the week. So through 27 weeks of picks here, I have NXT with 10 picks, NXT with 17 picks, and AEW with 10 picks.